church is Skyline?
Good enough for us?
We have a special service this morning, and that we're going to have an open mic, and the write-up that Sarah sent out, that Patton did, about the service today, was very intriguing. And the article that he referred to, talking about framing things in terms of evolution, and asked some very interesting questions for us to think about in preparation for today. So I'm going to turn it over to Patton, narrating our own experience with more spaciousness.
Thank you, Marcia. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'm going to first, before I kind of launch into this, by a show of hands, who is already planning on sharing something? Raise your hand, nice and high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and I'll share a little bit myself as well. So 7, and we try to keep this about 20 minutes or so we'll round up to 21 minutes, so about 3 minutes per person is what we're going for. Just to put that out there. All right, so, who read the article? Okay, so at least some people did. Let's see. In this article, the writer talks first about just noticing or reflecting upon the fact that Serena Williams, even though 4 years ago she said that she was retiring from tennis, that she was going to be appearing in the Wimbledon tennis match, and so in essence coming out of retirement. But as the writer talked about, and Marcia just mentioned, this idea of evolution crept into what she was saying, and that it's related to this idea that we, and this is our existential part, we get to decide how we narrate our lives. That is at the very core of our existential values that we hold. I'm going to go off on a tangent at this point. As I was learning initially about existentialism back in high school, even before college, through my French teacher, I took French for, I think, 3 years in high school. And she was a rather unconventional teacher, and it wasn't just about, conjugating verbs and all that sort of stuff. She was very interested in sharing the culture that you're learning about, that the language itself is a part of that culture. And so she introduced us to Jean-Paul Sartre and existentialism. And one of the things that I took away from that is the existential framing of the French language itself, and that and how that manifests itself is that when people talk about, like, say, for example, their profession, they don't say, I am a doctor, or I am a insert your career choice here. For me, it was a dancer. So rather than saying, I am a dancer, you say, I do the dance. And that it is that we define ourselves by what we do, and not laying claim to this idea of what we are, which again suggests that if you're that, then you can't be something else. That there's a certain amount of limitation in that. The other thing I found interesting in this article was our need to define things with conviction closes us off from possibility. So that same idea of, as by saying that, yes, I am a dancer, that it closes me off from other possibilities. And so when I retired recently from my teaching at Emory, I am not, leaving this idea of, or the realm of education, or the realm of dance, but rather opening myself up to new possibilities. And and so I'm looking forward to a couple of things. Leaning into this idea of creative work through writing. I have a whole bunch of papers that I've accumulated over the years that each one holds its own story that I'd like to try to unpack. And also my photography, since I recently, or currently have a piece hanging in the governor's mansion. It's like, maybe I do have a future with that as well. But I'm also choosing to, and I was sharing this with Jean the other day, leaning into my elder status. And when I say that,
Please recharge your battery.
I mean moving from a place of
Battery is low. Please recharge your battery.
Do I need to leave?
Let's see, where was I? Yes, that I'm shifting from being that person who felt like I had to prove myself through the actions that I did, to shifting into being that sort of person to serve as a mentor or a guide for younger people, younger generation dancers, choreographers, educators, whatever. So anyway, that's how I am choosing to be more spacious with my own life. And so I'm going to hand it over now to yes.
Thank you. You have survived days you thought would break you, yet you are still here. Stop doubting your strength. Trust yourself a little more and let hope lead to the next chapter of your life. Never stop believing your life can become greater.
Thank you. Was that something that you wrote yourself?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Patton. So I've always done writing, and he and I talked for a minute and said, make sure you don't talk more than 3 minutes. And I said, I don't talk very usually, but I feel like I've done that my whole life, and that you don't have to be retired to do that. So my whole adult life, I have found an hour every day to do free writing. When my kids were little, it was like get up ahead of them and go to the kitchen table and do it. Now I go to Oak Coffee Shop you can find me there from 9 to 10 most days a week. And that's just writing. It's writing. It's not the genre that I usually work with, which offends my colleagues, because I say my sermons are just another writing genre.
Who gets next? Jenna.
Thank you. I know I've told everybody I've been cleaning out my house, and I found this poem. I also found this really cool shirt. I have no idea where it came from. I wrote this poem right after my mom died 36 years ago. And she died of colon cancer. And she worked at CDC, she worked at the VA, so she took blood, she knew all the symptoms, and she knew she had blood in her stool, and she chose to do nothing because she didn't want anybody putting something up her butt. So she died, and I was pretty angry because she didn't really have to, you know, she could have done something and she didn't. Looking back now, it's like, I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, you know, and I thought, well, I forgive her, and then I went, I don't have anything to forgive her for. She did what she chose to do, and that's fine. I miss her, but I wrote this poem right after that, so it's a little bit depressing. To err is human, to forgive divine. I never claimed to walk that line so agilely between right and wrong, between mean or kind. Is it human nature to question life's quality? Are we just not happy if we can't be sad? We want the good, but would rather have bad things happen to us so we can rejoice in our misery. In truth, forgiving's too easy. I can't help but feel we really want life to be hard, to be real.
Thank you, Jan. Who is next, Patty?
Just a little background on this, I call it piece of writing. I worked as a technical writer for my career, and now that I'm retired, I do more creative type writing. So I went to a poetry workshop at the Lost in the Letters, which is a writing workshop across from the Kenmore Park Market. And of course, I was the oldest person there, and young women. And the prompt was to write a poem to your body. Well, I had a very hard time with this. And then I went home and I wrote a love ode to my aging body. My body has steadfastly served me through the years of childhood, love, marriage, pregnancy, great joys and sadness, vistas of mountain peaks, foreign countries, and the expansive geographic wonders of the world. My profile, once full of complimentary angles, now my chin wobbles and slopes to my sternum. My jeans fit inches above my hip bones. Have I always been high-waisted? Or do my boobs hang closer to my navel? Sitting, my jeans expand across my belly. I stand, my jeans sink to my hip bones, and the crotch sags beneath my ever-fleshy thighs. At my physical, I take off my shoes so they can measure my height. Clothed, I ask, will you reduce my weight by 3 pounds? The CNA says no. Next time I'll strip to my underwear. And then I flex my biceps in a rosy liberator pose. I see a bicep muscle and my triceps hang like fleshy dough. My body, my vessel, my spirit has transported me from childhood, teenage years, middle age, and now. I look forward to my sitting contemplation of my life on earth and my future. Hopefully, a fantastic surprise is awaiting me.
Thank you, Patty. And Leon.
I like this article that we were to read, and the statement, I think Patton has made reference to it. Sometimes our preference for certitude, our need to define things with conviction, closes us off from possibility. And to me, that means being boxed in by accepting things without thinking on your own, and that has been my life. I'm practically born in a box, and I was a boxed person, and I accepted what the denomination taught me, the Church of Christ and Christianity, And I didn't question a single thing for years and years. And then once I started questioning, then I didn't want to stop. I just kept on going. And I like that. And I realized that science is based on questioning everything. And so I think we need to question. And this exercise helped me in that. It talked about evolving from and evolving toward. So I made a list of what I'm evolving from. Christianity, all religions, being absolutely right. Can't fully get away from that. But I'm trying to evangelize others to my way of thinking, judging others by their religion. Now I look for values and love and compassion rather than what religion they may be espousing. All right? What am I evolving toward? Love, kindness, and respect are my goals. Making responsible choices. No belief in an afterlife. This is it. Respecting others' right to believe anything they desire, but help them look at the consequences. I am the designer of my beliefs and values, choices, and responsible for the consequences. A God is not a factor in science, and he is not a factor now in my life. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. Others, Mary.
Well, I've been thinking that a lot of the progression in my life has been opening to other individualities, to different personalities, from high-achieving, career-oriented neighborhood that I grew up in, where I had pets and animals that I really loved, but they took sort of a second place, of course, and that's natural, I guess, to what I had to do for school and other things. And some of these animals just fell by the wayside. And then, after I left and went off to college and got a job, I worked at Battelle Labs, and I was involved there with the toxicology department. And they were poisoning, I came in as a statistician, so I was at the tail end of an experiment for the chemical industry of toxicology somewhere, I think in North Carolina, and they wanted Battelle, this group, the toxicology group, to be to work on these rats and give them formaldehyde and see how that affected. And I got to run statistics to see if there was any kind of noticeable thing, whether they understood whether it was clear that formaldehyde was extremely toxic or not. And I don't know really what this was supposed to do. I suppose it was supposed to somehow translate to the human species, but in any case, that was another thing. And I tell you, at this point, having gotten in touch with Stephen Wingeier and his wife Dawn, I've really, I think, come to a real understanding, and also books I've read too, the individuality of plants, the individuality of animals, and I just never grew up with that. So I brought one of Stephen's books that I imagine a lot of you probably have or are familiar with. And I picked out one poem that I wanted to, that I just thought would be, oh gosh. Well, I don't know, maybe I didn't mark the right one.
is called daylight calling. The young rooster's first attempt to crow is squeaky and uncertain, a shaky, unmusical phrase. But as the days go by, his confidence grows, confidence in himself, or faith in the morning. I'm not sure which. Until after a month of steady practice, he bellows that age-old salute to the new, the original reveille, in a rendition absolutely his own. We named our first rooster Blossom, a friar, maybe a broiler, who somehow fell off of the truck and showed up on our backyard one day. It was months before the telltale spurs on his heels, the splendid red comb, the majestic wattles gave away his true gender. Bred to grow fat in a cage and die at a tender age, Blossom announced every sunrise for 3 years until at last his heart could no longer haul his weight around. The morning after we buried him, his number, one hen hopped up onto the perch on a weathered segment of leg and uttered a long, broken-hearted croak of a crow. Stretched out comfortably in the dark, in no way ready for daylight, I recognize the arrogant trumpet. It's the call of duty, a triumphant reminder that every one of us is here for a reason, one more opportunity to live it out, or at least to persevere in the search for it, is about to sear the horizon. Refusing to wake up is no longer an option.
All right, anyone else before we wrap up?
Can I make a quick Hi, I'm Madison. I don't want to embarrass you, but would you stand up? Okay. Madison was one of the students who were here after touring Oakland Cemetery. Anthony Knight brought a wonderful group of students about a month ago. And Madison decided that she wanted to continue her investigation. She was fascinated by this building and by the history of this building. And she's going to write an article about us. And I think you already started, right? Is that right? So anyway, she came today to the first chance that she had after Father's Day. She had to stay home and celebrate her father, to come and see a service in action. And I would like you all to welcome Madison here.
All right. So to bring our open mic today to a close, I would leave you with these thoughts. What elements in your life could benefit from some less definitive framing? An invitation that as you go through the rest of today, or perhaps throughout this coming week, you just notice those elements in your lives where approaching it with a more spacious attitude, a more spacious openness, what other possibilities could arise? Thank you.
Well done.